Call to order the Tuesday, July 24th, 2012 informational meeting of the Sioux Falls City Council. Welcome to those of you who are here at Carnegie Down Hall, as well as those who are watching on CityLink and on SiouxFalls.org. We're glad to have you with us this afternoon. Important agenda about our largest city project, but we'll start first of all with City Council open discussion. Do we have any comments from City Council members? It's going to be a slow afternoon. Councilor Rolfing.
I will say that I happened to be in Provo, Utah, when was it? Last Friday. Stopped into their new event, convention center and said hi to Scott Kavanaugh, and he wishes you all well.
Oh,
yeah,
very
we
sweet.
just stopped. We were on our way, and I said, to my wife, let's just stop and see if Scott is there, and he was, and we were fairly shocked that, he looked down the hallway and saw me coming, and said we spent about 15-20 minutes with him, and his family is doing well, and I thought you'd like to know that.
Oh, that's very nice. Scott was our manager of the convention center here in Sioux Falls for quite some time. Thank you, Councilor Rolfing. Other Councilor open discussion, Councilor Entman.
I'd like to congratulate the Sioux Falls Air Show and the South Dakota Air National Guard for a fantastic air show that they put on this weekend. Just a special thanks also to the United States Navy. This is Navy Week, believe it or not, and it's in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, which is kind of a unique place. But it was interesting. The Admiral this morning at a meeting of the Chamber shared some information that actually, as far as per capita people serving in the Navy, South Dakota has got the highest per capita number of folks serving in the United States Navy. So it must be that Plains state thing about the flatlands that make people want to go to the ocean. So it's really cool. And congratulations again to all of the folks that participated in the air show, to the Sioux Falls Air Show Committee and the South Dakota Air National Guard for a great job.
It was an amazing event. Thank you, Councilor Entman. Other open discussion, council open discussion. All right, seeing none, thank you all for being here this afternoon. We're going to move on to our presentations. We have the monthly event center project update. We're starting with project manager Kendra Simmonsma. Kendra, welcome.
Hello, good afternoon, City Council, Madam Chair. I'm very excited to be here to kick off the monthly event center update. I normally don't have an opportunity to come in front of you, so I'm very excited. A couple, just besides myself coming up, we're also going to have an update from Colleen Moran, and then we'll follow by updates from Director Cooper, Director Turbek, and Director Smith, and then our mayor will come up for some closing comments as well. So the first thing I wanted to say is that this is a very big week for the project. We actually have some construction activities on site starting, and before I go into some of the specific items, this wouldn't be possible without our Mortensen construction team being here with us, not only coming down and traveling for all the meetings that we've been having over the past year, but we've actually had some Mortensen staff join our community and move to Sioux Falls. So we're very excited and pleased that we have grown by 4, population of +4 from our Mortensen team, and I believe that we will be having a few more joining us as the project progresses. So we welcome them to our small community, and we hope that they continue to live here after the project is done. What I wanted to point out, if you've been out at all to the site, you'll have seen that on Monday there was actually some activity started where we have our subcontractors out there setting up the site fence. They're also putting in the temporary sidewalk and the temporary road. And the word temporary is a little misleading because it's temporary meaning for the life of the project, so for 2 years. The temporary sidewalk and temporary road is being installed this week. And then also the following week, you're actually going to start to see asphalt removal. So after they put up the site fence and protect the construction site, you'll actually see equipment go in and start to remove the asphalt. And then in the beginning and middle of August, we'll actually start with rock removal. And so the blasting of rock will actually start in August. All of that activity would not be possible without all the subcontractors that we have now brought on board to our project. And some of you will remember the week of June 20th, we started to announce our first subcontractors joining the Mortensen construction team. We announced the HVAC, the plumbing, the electrical, fire suppression contracts, They are all listed up there on the screen, as well as the site services contracts. Then on July 18th, we announced our precast concrete contract, along with rock removal, the concrete foundations, and then just the general site work. So right now, to call out SUCUP is heavily engaged in the site work that's going on right now, and Concrete Materials, who was brought on, they'll be helping us with the rock removal, and Pesca will be helping us with the foundation work. And then all the other subcontractors that have joined our team are listed up there. Lacey's for site services, the American Fence Company helping us with the fence. The waste management part of the construction project is Novak. You can see Muth Electric up there. And the point I wanted to relay to the council and to the citizens of Sioux Falls is that we're very proud that we are have brought on all local Sioux Falls firms to help us with this project. The tagline on the bottom talks about, at this point, where about a third of the project has been bid out. And of that, 99% of that work has gone to local companies here in Sioux Falls. And if the council will remember, we talked about one of the project goals of having 85% of our construction workers coming from Sioux Falls. And so we feel like we are well on track to meet that goal. What I want to do now is bring up Colleen Moran from our city's attorney's office, and she's actually going to talk about how we've engaged our ADA community.
Welcome, Colleen.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. This also is my first time in presenting to you, so thank you so very much. As the ADA, I am one of the assistant city attorneys, as some of you know, and I'm also the ADA coordinator for the city. And in that position, I am the liaison to some city boards and commissions, and one of those is the ADA Accessibility Review Board. And as you know, it's an advisory board about city projects and services and programs. And when we have talked about the event center, the ADA Accessibility Review Board has been involved from the beginning. We've met with the architects and Shannon, the engineer, and other people involved with the project from the beginning. From the beginning, we also realized that we needed to connect with the public. We wanted to make sure that the public had input about the accessibility of the event center. We had an ADA Accessibility Review Board meeting in April, and we invited people that we thought would have an interest in it. People who were members of the disability community or worked with them, were advocates for people in the disability community. And we had a number of people that appeared at that meeting and provided input. And I'm really happy to report that the architects took that into consideration and did make some changes according to the input from that April meeting. We then had another meeting, as you can tell from the slide, that happened in July, just July 12th, and we held that at South Dakota Achieve. There were about, I would guess, about a dozen people from the public that appeared at that meeting. The architect was there and other people from the city and explained what the plan was for accessibility. There were a number of questions and a number of suggestions. There was a woman there who actually gave everyone a handout from the deaf and hard of hearing and deaf and blind community that said, these are some suggestions that I have, and this is the rationale for each suggestion. And she provided that to the architect and to the engineers and anyone else who was interested. There was another woman there who I thought had a very good point when she said there is no more important room in any building than the bathroom. And she had questions then about the bathroom and the accessibility of the bathroom. There was a suggestion about, she happened to be in a wheelchair, one of the women who addressed this, about where to put the soap dispenser, because she couldn't always reach it when it was on the back wall. So she suggested that some of the soap dispensers be on the side wall. We had those types of conversations at that meeting. I thought it was a great meeting. One of the persons there thanked me several times and said it is so nice to have the opportunity to be able to give input to this project at this stage. We sometimes aren't asked until it's way too late, and so she thanked me for the opportunity and for having the meeting and giving her a chance to have her say. And so that's what happened at the July 12th meeting. Thank you. And now Director Cooper will give you some information.
Great. Thank you, Colleen.
Good afternoon, Mike Cooper, Planning and Building Services. I wanted to start out my portion of the update today to talk about our parking coordination process that we have begun a few weeks ago. Now that construction has officially started, it's an exciting phase that we're now working into. And we're putting together various groups of people representing upcoming events that will be held on the vicinity of the area this fall. And what's interesting is that they represent a quite diverse interest groups. We have the Sioux Falls School District represented, the Sheraton, Sioux Falls Sports Authority, the Sioux Falls Catholic Schools, Dakota Bowl Committee, President's Bowl Committee, Festival of Bands Committee, University of South Dakota, Arena Convention Center, and we actually now have started involving three representatives of the West Sioux neighborhood. They came to our last meeting and they were really interested to hear what was going on and actually provided some input as far as ideas for the area. The task ahead of this group is really to look at these upcoming events, August, September, and into October of this fall. This chart that you're looking at are the major events that will be conducted at Howard Wood Field and in the area. On August 24th, the Sioux Falls Public Schools will have their first high school football game inside the renovated Howard Wood Field. On Saturday, September 1st, is the really big event, which is going to be Dakota Bowl. And as you saw maybe earlier, there was some negotiation about possibly moving that event, but it will be held at Howard Wood Field this year. And so that committee is an integral part of our parking committee, our parking working group. Then the following week we have the President's Bowl, and then the following day is our marathon, half marathon, that's being put together by the Sports Authority in Sanford. Then we have another big event coming up in October, which is the Festival of Bands, sponsored by the Sioux Falls Public School District. October 20th is going to be the USD NDSU football game, sponsored by the Sports Authority. And interesting, that same day we have a couple other events already booked at the convention center in a hockey game at the arena. So that one will provide some additional challenges and opportunities for us. But what's really encouraging is this group of names that I listed, which will also bring in the Fair Authority, which our next meeting is going to be tomorrow. They're really feeding off of each other as far as ideas on shuttling. We're looking at locations on the north side of Russell Street, east side of West Avenue, the fairgrounds parking. We're going to be looking at a lot of opportunities as to where we can shuttle people during these events. We're also looking at utilizing the baseball stadium as well as the plaza in front of the baseball stadium. For those of you that did participate or did go to the air show this last weekend, I don't know if you noticed, but a big part of the success of that show was the ability of shuttling people in and out of there. Parking over by Howard Wood Field, First Premier, Southeast Tech. I know there were other places that they brought people in from large parking lots, utilizing the buses, the School Bus Inc. buses. And I actually took one of those, the shuttles from the arena parking lot, and it was really very, very user-friendly. They had the shuttles running back and forth on a regular basis, so it was easy to get to the event, and it was easy to come back to the parking lot pretty much any time you wanted to. So again, we're not looking physically at that large of an area like the air show did, but I think as we talk with these groups about opportunities for shuttles, for people movers, for closing off a portion of Western Avenue, those are the ideas that we're working on for these events. So I feel very optimistic that we're going to have some good outcomes and that we'll have very successful events. Another task that was completed is going through the final development plan approval at the July 11th Planning Commission meeting. That information is based on the most recent plans that we have from our design team, and those plans were presented by both city staff as well as representatives of Coke Hazard. And now that we're starting the demolition process, we will be looking at reviewing those plans and issuing those permits, starting with the footing and foundation and going through the structure and then the finishes. So there'll be a series of plan reviews that will take place by various city staff, including building services, fire inspection, health department, all the different agencies that would typically get involved in a project like this. So that review and permitting process is just now getting underway. We're also making some progress on our area development master plan. We had a second neighborhood meeting on June 21st to not only update the neighborhood on what's going on with the master plan, but also we had representatives of Mortenson Construction there, and we have some of the same folks in the audience here today. And they did a really good job of talking to the neighborhood about the construction activity that people will start to see beginning today. Interesting about how the rock blasting is going to work, which I think helped alleviate some of the fears of the neighborhood that we weren't going to be seeing these flying chunks of granite going in every direction. It's going to be a very safe and professional way that they'll undertake this construction. So that was a really worthwhile time, and we also received additional input from stakeholders, whether it's the neighborhood or businesses, about, again, what are the main things that they would like us to focus on for the future of this area. The one that we continue to hear the most about is the traffic improvements, particularly on West Madison Street, going over towards Burnside. And so we're going to continue to work with Public Works and others to identify both short-term and long-term improvements that we can identify to help with the traffic flow, not just associated with the event center, but just the normal morning and evening peak hour traffic flow that the West Sioux neighborhood has to deal with. Event parking was a big deal, and obviously with this parking committee that we put in place, I'll repeat myself that we think we're going to come up with some pretty innovative ideas to deal with these big events for shuttling people off-site. And hopefully we can carry that over into the winter months as well, as we start to have some of those big indoor activities going into 2012, 2013 winter months. Utilities and drainage are some other things that we're looking at for the area. The neighborhood development, we continue to get questions about, are there plans to eliminate people's homes or the residential areas? And we keep saying that, no, we don't have plans, but we still keep that open, that window open, that if there are opportunities in the future that people would like to look at transferring that neighborhood area into maybe some limited economic development opportunities, that we'll have a chance to identify potentially where that could happen. But for the most part, we see the West Sioux neighborhood residential area staying pretty much the way it is for the time being. And then a key part of this is business development opportunities, because as we said to you before, we believe that with the event center going forward, that there is going to be some real interest. And in fact, we know for a fact that there is interest in economic development in the area. We've continued to talk with not only planning, but with Darren's team, Darren Smith's team, about hotel opportunities and other retail opportunities. Plus, we continue to have meetings with Sanford about their facility up by the airport as far as what potential economic development that could generate. So I think when you see in August or September some of the recommendations and ideas for the area development, it's going to be pretty exciting. The last thing that I'll go through is just an update on our management agreements. We're currently still working through meetings with both SMG and Ovations. Obviously, we're having those meetings separately. with our team, which involves city staff led by the attorney's office, as well as our outside third-party assistants, Crossroads Consulting, and then the Woods Fuller Law Firm is helping us go through those meetings as well. We believe that these contract negotiations are still progressing very well, and that we're still looking at that target to complete those by the end of August or the middle part of September. And our intent is, once we get to the point that we think we're pretty well ready to go with a final version of this, then we'll sit down with the city council leadership and say, okay, now what's the best way to present this information to you, as well as some more of the background data as to how we got to the point of recommending both SMG and Ovations. So that then the last step in that process will be coming to you for formal action to approve those two contracts. So there, I'm done, and I'll turn it over to Darren Smith, and he can talk to you about his area of involvement.
Thank you, Mike.
Okay, good afternoon. Darren Smith, Director of Community Development. Brief update on the title sponsorship naming rights process. The process is continuing to move forward very well. It's exactly where we thought we would be at this point and hoped we would be. I think you also know that last month we placed Legend Sales and Marketing under contract with a very narrow focus, and that was to help lead this process and help us complete this process. Something you've also heard me say repeatedly since the inception of this process, which was back in March, is that we felt it was very realistic that we could have a title sponsor naming rights agreement in place in time for the groundbreaking. And in just a few slides, you'll see the exact date that's been determined for that groundbreaking event. And I would just say we still feel that way. And very soon I would anticipate reaching out to the council leadership and consulting and seeking direction on how we get the council involved in this process, educate the council, and then ultimately ask the city council for their approval of the agreement that we ultimately will have negotiated. And with that, a very brief update, I will turn it over to Finance Director Tracy Turbek.
Thank you, Darren.
Thank you, Darren. Good afternoon. Tracy Turbek with the Finance Office. As you might expect, my portion of the update today deals with the funding and expenditures on the project. Really nothing has changed in terms of the project funding since our last update. We are continuing to plan for a second and final bond sale that will occur sometime in the months to come, certainly prior to the end of this year, to finish out the financing package for the project to raise the balance of funds required. The slide also shows the expenditures through the end of June. You can see we've spent almost about just under $2.9 million. That represents a little less than 2.5% of the total project budget. So we're just really getting going on the project. So far, most of the expenditures, as you can see, are professional fees. That is really for architectural and engineering fees primarily. The construction amount is quite small yet to this point, as you might expect, since really just getting going on spending some of those dollars, but you can certainly expect in the months to come that number will continue to grow and grow significantly as the project proceeds. Again, we've spent about $2.9 million, and that represents, again, about 2.5% of the total project. And with that concludes my portion of the presentation. We'll turn it back over to Kendra Simmons. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Tracy.
The last update that I want to provide you before we turn it over to our mayor is to announce a fun part of this construction project. We are using webcams for this project, which is nothing new. We do that on other big projects as well, but it's exciting because the address that you see on your screen right now, SiouxFallsEventCenter.org, is up and live, and I'm going to flip over right now and we can see a live shot of the construction site. So what you see here, and what Mike is pointing out, thank you, is the Jersey barrier. So those are the concrete barriers that are being installed right now for the, oops, that's a live webcam for you, for where the site fence is going to go up. And you can see that it's about halfway around, and that Mortensen Construction continues to work with our subcontractors to build the fence yet this week. And I believe that we'll actually see chain link fencing going up starting tomorrow. And so you can, this is absolutely live because you can see those trucks moving back there. You can see somebody walking in or walking right there. Some of the things that you may recognize right away, besides the very little moisture we have in our green space, is that some of the wayfinding signs have already come down. So there used to be a large wayfinding sign there pointing to where you were at on the campus, and we've already had to take that down, obviously, to prepare for the demolition part. So it's really exciting. And the icon that you see right here, you should be seeing it. Sorry about that. That icon right there, Sioux Falls Event Center, that's the icon that you will see on the siouxfalls.org/event center site. And that will bring you to this webcam feed, and then it will also bring you to a new site that we've developed just for construction. And I'm going to flip back over and show you a few screenshots of that new site. So what you see here, these are just screenshots, but just to navigate you, if you were to select this icon here, and I don't know, my apologies, I don't know why this isn't working today. But if you were to select that event center icon from, again, siouxfalls.org event center, you would come here, and what you're going to see is what you're going to see is in the main part of your screen, you see it says the live cam. And so this is a section that you'll always be able to access the live cam from. And then off to the right side where it says at a glance, those are just major milestones at a glance for the project. You can see, it's hard to pick it out, but you can see that our estimated completion date is fall of 2014, which has all been what we've been communicated. But then if you look closer, you can actually see some of more specific milestones, the November 8th vote, when the bond sale happened, and so on and so forth. And so it just gets, at a glance, the major project milestones that we have. And then below, you'll actually see some recent photos. And what's going to happen on this site is as the construction happens, the webcam is going to be taking time-lapse pictures. And so every so often they'll take a picture and we'll compile all those pictures and create a time-lapse video. As those pictures are being taken, they'll be posted here where you see recent photos. And then we'll also be posting any project-related photos like our planning, parking committee meetings, all of our design meetings we've had, open houses for the ADA, any of our public meetings. We'll be posting those pictures here on our site. And then finally, you're actually going to see some updated architectural renderings, which if we go to the next slide, you'll be able to see here as well. On the top, you'll see project team pictures. In the middle, you see the actual construction photos that are being taken and captured. And then on the bottom section, you actually see renderings. And that rendering you see here in this screenshot is produced by our Mortensen construction team. And it's a construction rendering that they use to help with sequencing of construction activity. And so as we get further along in this process, we believe that this site will provide comprehensive information regarding the construction of the building. So we're very excited to introduce this to the council and then also to the citizens of Sioux Falls. And I just want to go back one slide and show you that in the middle there, it's a timeline. And so that's another feature that's going to be on this new site, that you'll be able to scroll and see upcoming timeline and events. And you can see there in this picture that we're calling out the groundbreaking date. Again, this is available through our siouxfalls.org Event Center website. And again, if you just click on that Sioux Falls Event Center icon that appears on the left top section of the screen, you'll be able to get to this site. So with that, I'd like to bring up our mayor to close the presentation.
Kendra, thank you, and Council, thanks so much for the opportunity today. We certainly appreciate that. As you can see, there's a lot going on with this project. But my role today is very, very simple. I want to invite all of you and, of course, all of the people of Sioux Falls to help celebrate our groundbreaking of this event. If you could place on your calendars August 30th as a save the date, we'd appreciate it. And everybody is invited. You don't have to be a dignitary or someone very, very well known to attend this ceremony. It will be on August 30th at 4:30 p.m. Out at our new event center location. And the folks that are helping us organize this are the Convention and Visitors Bureau under the leadership of course, Evan Nolte in the Chamber, but specifically Terry Ella Schmidt. And we certainly want to thank them for their efforts. This will be done at no cost to the taxpayers. I want to make sure that you're certainly aware of that. But the CVB, Terry Ella Schmidt, and others will be putting this on for the people of Sioux Falls as we celebrate this big day for our town. It is with that in mind that we wanted to certainly open up an opportunity for the council to ask any questions. We're not rushed today, and that's a great thing. We want to certainly be as transparent and available for you on questions that you may have. We've got a great opportunity to do that. We brought in almost the entire team. Mark Cotter is on vacation, so that's why he's not here. But we also have Shannon here, so in case there would be any technical questions, whether it be Mortensen Construction, Shannon, or even, yes, Kendra Simmonsma, we can answer those as well. So with that in mind, please, Council, any questions at all that you may have on your or our new event center. Councilor?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Questions from the council? Councilor Staggers.
Yes, I have a question for Tracy. Tracy, just wanted to clarify the construction fees that Mortensen is getting in the contract that we have with them.
What
Are
is
they
it?
getting 2.5%, 5%, or what exactly?
I don't know the specific percentage. It's somewhere in that neighborhood. I don't know. Is there anyone here that can? 2.25. Okay, it is 2.25%.
2.25% of $115 million. Is that fair to say?
Well, it would be on the value of the work put in place. So their fee won't apply to all of the costs in the project. For example, some of the furniture, fixtures, and equipment that will be purchased directly by the city will not fall under their fee. Some of the other soft costs that are involved in the project. So their fee will apply to the amount of work that they're responsible for.
So do you have any rough idea how many million that would be then?
I believe it was just below $100 million, somewhere in that neighborhood.
So we can figure maybe 2.25% of 100 million as their
on the
fee.
high end. Yep.
On the-
I think it would
on
be
the high
somewhat
end.
less than that.
Okay. Also, too, I notice here in the financial summary, it talks about sales tax fund cash, $500,000. We're supposed to do this with 100% bonding. So eventually, are we going to replace that $500,000 with money that's been bonded?
No, the $500,000 was money that the council approved in the budget for 2012 for this project, and so it was actually used to, or is intended to be used to reduce the amount of bonding for the project.
Okay, so maybe we should be down to 100 and, well, just reduce the 115 by,
Right.
500.
The
so-
expectation today is that there'll be $114.5 million
okay,
in bonds.
Okay. I guess that's the only questions I had. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilor Staggers. Councilor Rolfing?
Thank you. Let's see, who was I? Kendra, I think it was you that was talking when we did this on the bidding process and I noticed this is a third, we're a third way done, 99%. It's fantastic. I know there's been a lot of contractors and a lot of people in Sioux Falls saying they took a big sigh when that happened. We've got a third left, or 2/3 left, however. What are the bids, what are the things that are left to be bid on?
I'm actually going to ask Jason Murnowski from Mortensen to come up and address that, Counselor.
Good. And I thank you, Jason, because there was a huge sigh in Sioux Falls when the bids were announced and there were this many people, contractors in Sioux Falls. And so great job. Great job.
Thank you for that. We definitely pride ourselves on bringing work to the local community and using local workforce. I mean, that's what we do.
And we trusted you. That's why that's one of the reasons that you were hired. And you know, sometimes the trust out in the field, as we say, or out in the public, isn't what is here. And you've come through so far.
So far, we still have a little journey yet to go. But to answer your question, really the next package that's going to be going out on the street, which is actually here in about a week and a half, our bid package 3, which takes care of your structural steel, your elevators, your escalators, food service equipment. That's really kind of the next package. Outside of that, you'll see some further packages coming out here towards the fall, which will be a lot of your finished trades, along with your enclosure trades. I mean, you got your metal studs, you got your drywall, you're going to have your ceramic tile flooring, you'll have your acoustic ceiling grid, your casework. I mean, you have all those finished trades yet to be coming. So.
Okay, so a lot of the last part could go to the Sioux Falls area. Some of the things maybe on this middle part may not, because of the amount of manufacturing or whatever that may not be able to be done around here, but some of them could too.
Yeah, and I think in this next package, the structural steel package in particular, is going to be an interesting turnout because you're starting to see some teams form with local manufacturers as well as local erectors, teaming up with some national guys.
Super.
They've already reported back to us that they're looking at some teaming arrangements there. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out here, which is we get the results of that at the end of August. So.
Fantastic. Appreciate it, Jason. Thank you.
Councilor Jameson.
If I could just clarify with the mayor, could you make sure that everybody knows that I was not playing tennis with you? It was not me. Okay.
Per that point, Councilor Jameson, you were not there. You were cheering me on. Wish me all the very best, and for that I thank you. No, it was one of those things that Councilor Jameson, as we get older, we try to, maintain that enthusiasm and zest for life, and try to act younger than what I guess God intended, and that's what happened in my case. But it is what it is, and I'm feeling much better after 3 days of sleeping on the lazy boy. But I plan on sleeping there again tonight. But Councilor Jameson, thanks for the good wishes.
Hopefully a speedy recovery.
Thank you so much, sir.
Could you tell me though who was in charge of the website?
Yeah, Kendra.
We contracted with a local firm, VVI, and they helped us. They worked very closely with our central services team to help put together this website. That contract was seen through on the consent agenda.
I just wanted to state that I think that's a great tool. Whoever helped them get through this process, I think that's a great asset for this project. I think the staff did a great job getting it there. I think it's going to be great and well utilized by the city.
I will convey that. Thank you so much. They put a lot of hard work.
Good, thank you. And then if I could on parking, Kendra, actually, if you could help me, could you show a live shot of the event center? Could you go back there again? And then maybe Mike, if you could help me, or anybody. What I'm trying to figure out is the staging area for the event center compared to the footprint of the building. everything inside that barrier, will that be, okay, yes, Jason.
So what you see is the concrete Jersey barrier area. That's really where the outline fence is going to be at. As it relates to the footprint of the actual convention center itself, I mean, if you draw a line out from the existing convention center, a little bit further, closer, there you go, right about there, and head on over, that's about that line. There's a distance in between there, and basically where the, if you draw that line down the parallel path of where the existing convention center is to where the Jersey barrier is, that's where that laydown area is going to be. So we'll have a couple job trailers in there. We'll be shaking out some structural steel before erection, things of that sort. That's where all the materials are going to be, is in between those two areas. So there's actually a gap. We won't be on the outside of that concrete Jersey barriers, if that was your question.
It will not.
It will not be on the outside of that. So anybody that needs additional storage from what we can provide them on site, they're going to have to provide storage off site, and then they'll have to truck it in just in time, what I call JIT, just in time deliveries. So very common in the manufacturing world, very common when you're in a city setting as well. So they bring the materials in just as they need them. Once we get the building erected, obviously this becomes more storage inside the building.
Sure.
So
I had driven that area this morning because I thought it might be the last time. The concern I have is that the parking impact it's going to have on Howard Wood and other events out there, that if the staging area is only, what I could gather, isn't that much bigger than the footprint of the building, I could see this as potentially a test of future events that will occur there and the impact that that building will have compared to all the parking. And I know we're going to work on these busing and these other places, but maybe it's just good effort here that when we're doing these coordination groups with those other outside stakeholders who have events out here, that we somehow maybe develop a bigger master plan in case there should become a parking issue, which I know has been a concern from the beginning, but I think there's a perfect opportunity here to use this as a learning example or learning curve for what's to come.
Yeah, I agree completely, Councilor, and then also to remind everybody that as part of the project, there will actually be additional parking provided when we redo the existing parking lots by the restriping and some other reconfiguration.
Oh, that's right.
We're actually going to be able to add parking spaces.
As well, McCart Field, when does that get redone?
Yes.
When?
We're going to start that this fall. That will be done this fall. Okay, but not before the football games start.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. You wanted to wait for this summer season of softball to get done?
Yep.
Okay. Very good.
And again, we have parking on the north side of Russell Street. We have Veterans Memorial Park. So there's a lot of parking in the area that we're going to be more creative in the future as far as how we conduct these events. And I think that eventually shuttling will probably become almost part of the status quo for some of the bigger events that we do.
Thank you. Councilor Intamin.
Thank you. I guess Mike did answer the question that I had concerning the additional of the new parking spots that we're going to have available. But also just a brief comment, a suggestion that if the mayor decides to pick up a new sport that's less dangerous, I have a suggestion for you. Give me a call.
Any other questions or comments? Councilor Staggers.
Yeah, question of Darren. Yeah, we're coming up on April 30th for the groundbreaking.
Yes.
And just wondering, do we have a tentatively signed agreement right now or not for the naming rights?
No.
And we're kind of getting short on time. When do you anticipate that?
Well, I would simply reiterate what I said earlier, is that the process is advancing. I believe we are nearing that point, and I'm just very comfortable stating again that it is a real possibility that we will have an agreement for this city council to consider for formal approval and have that completed potentially in advance of the groundbreaking event, which is now August 30th.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, you mentioned talking to council leadership. So, I mean, you know, we have just very, very short time here.
Absolutely. I'm sensitive to that. I recognize that. And at the same time, I'm very comfortable with the way I feel things will unfold, and I think you will be too.
If I could just ask one more question about Legends. They're going to be trying to sell the inside of the arena, or excuse me, the event center. Do we have any projections? Is that going to take a year? Or do they have any sense of how long that's going to take?
Yeah, that is something that we're having discussions with them on right now, and it would be my hope that once this current process is complete, then we would transition to that. There are a number of things that I believe they do need to do that would have tremendous value, and we've talked about some of this before. To answer your question point blank, I do believe that it is a real possibility that it could take as much as, you know, a year to a year and a half to sell all of the identified assets, and that'll be part of the process with them on the front end, is identifying all of those assets in this new facility and those sponsorship opportunities, all the premium seating sales that will go along with that. So it is not uncommon to be selling something in the building right up until the day that the doors open, and sometimes even after that. Now again, we've done a very good job of being very organized and staying ahead of the curve with this process. I'd like to keep us there. And ultimately, I think that'll make us successful. And I would anticipate completing all of the sales opportunities we'll have on the front end in advance of the doors opening.
If I could just ask one other quick question. Will Legends, can we get them involved in selling anything else, like in the arena or
Absolutely.
the convention center, with the contract we have?
Yes, Counselor, that is the intent. Sure.
I'm running short, but Mr. Mayor, comment?
Very, very quick. Councilor Staggers, one of the things that is important to remember, too, is that the speed of negotiating these items is truly not the key. We're trying to maintain the leverage for the taxpayer, and what we want is we want to maximize the return versus a speedy return. And so one of the things that we want to do is, again, identify all the things that we can sell, and then once we identify those, try to maximize that price that we sell them for. Then the taxpayer wins. There's really no rush at all to do any of this prior to the groundbreaking. I'm sorry, prior to the actual ribbon cutting of the event. But I know that there's been strong interest on the naming rights, and so that is one thing that we are going to make happen. But again, Councilor Bach, thank you for your time today. It's been very, very well received, and we appreciate that. There is so much going on, and we certainly appreciate your commitment to this process, and we're looking forward to next month as well.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you to all the presenters. Reminding folks that SiouxFalls.org has that live web shot now, webcam on that little logo thing, and to spend some time with that and to keep up with it in that way. If you have questions, there are these folks that have been here this afternoon can certainly answer your questions by email or by phone. Before we adjourn, we do have a 5 o'clock meeting with the joint meeting with the Minnehaha County Commission. Before we adjourn, I wanted to just follow up, and Councilor Aguilar reminded me of this. We should have done it during open discussion, but Trent and Greg, would you give us your elevator speech real quick on the water issues this morning? Can you do that for us on just short notice? I just know you can jump right up there, Trent. I appreciate it. Just identify yourself for us.
Sure. Trent Lubers, Public Works Administration. Just an overview of what happened this morning. We had lost power from the City Light and Power Division. We believe what happened is a grounding rod was inserted into the ground for another project, and it actually hit our primary conductor. We have standby resources in place. What happened is those standby resources did everything they were supposed to do. They came online. But the ability of those standby resources to deliver water were only about 30 million gallons a day. Our demand at the time was about 45 million gallons a day. We monitored the situation from 7:30 till about 9:30. We made the decision based on what we were seeing and the time it was taking to repair the issue that we needed to start curbing water usage for the evening usage period, Because of that, we kicked out. We wanted to take advantage of the news cycle at noon and then also in the evening. We have a certain amount of stored water in the system, and once that's used up through that high volume water use, we can't replace it fast enough. And so we wanted to be ready for that 7 o'clock rush that came in when people started to irrigate their lawns again. So we asked our customers to stop using outside water use for the day-to-day until we got the issue resolved. It happened much quicker than we thought it would. The water team and the light and power team worked together diligently, and they found the faults and they fixed it. It took us about 4 hours as opposed to as long as we thought it was going to. Greg has got extra resources available at the plant right now. He's making water in excess of what the daily demand is to make up that loss, and so at 4:30 we kicked out a press release to rescind those water restrictions.
Great. Thank you very much. Any questions based on that? We just needed an update. Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, Trent. All right. We shall adjourn this meeting. We'll again reconvene at 5 o'clock with the Minnehaha County Commission. We're adjourned.